All right, let's dive into Algeria. We're talking about a country of just staggering scale, deep, deep historical roots, and a story that's, well, you really can't understand North Africa without it. And when I say scale, I mean it. Just look at this number, almost 2.4 million square kilometers. It's just so vast, it's honestly hard to wrap your head around. That massive size makes it the largest country in all of Africa. Yep, number one. A title it snatched up back in 2011 after Sudan split. So the big question is, how do you even begin to unpack a country this immense? Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle it. We'll break it down into 4 key pieces. First up, the geography. It's a real land of contrasts. Then we're going to peel back the layers of its incredible history. After that, we have to talk about the French connection, which is both pivotal and frankly painful. And we'll wrap up by looking at what's shaping Algeria today, its oil, its people, and its power struggles. All right, first stop, the geographic puzzle. Because Algeria's huge size hides this really fundamental paradox about where and how people can actually live there. Get this. Over 90% of this enormous country is the Sahara Desert. We're talking one of the hottest, driest places on the entire planet. Just a vast, intimidating sea of sand and rock. Now here's the wild part. The other side of that coin. Over 90% of Algeria's population, all 47 million people, are packed into this tiny little strip of land right along the Mediterranean coast. So you've got this massive, mostly empty country, and then this one small coastal area that's just buzzing with life. So why is that? Well, the answer is the Tel Atlas mountain range. It's like a natural wall, you see? It catches all the moisture coming in from the sea. That's what creates this mild, wetter climate and gives the country its only patch of fertile, farmable land. South of those mountains, it's all desert. Okay, so that's the geography. Now let's switch gears and talk history. Because that prime spot on the Mediterranean didn't just shape the weather. It basically put a giant welcome sign up for empires, making it a crossroads of civilizations for millennia. I mean, just look at these layers of history. We're talking way before Algeria was even a thing. This land was home to the ancient Berber kingdom of Numidia. Then came the Romans, then the Vandals, the Byzantines, the Arab caliphates, who brought Islam in the 8th century, and then the Ottomans. Each one left its own unique fingerprint on the place. But here's the thing. Before any of them, there were the Berbers, or the Amazigh, as they call themselves. These are the indigenous people of North Africa, and they weren't just steamrolled by all these conquests. No way. They absorbed, they adapted, and they managed to preserve their own unique culture and languages through thousands of years of outside rule. They are, without a doubt, the bedrock of Algerian identity. And what's so cool is that you can literally walk through this history today. Algeria has 7 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. You can explore these jaw-droppingly preserved Roman cities like Jamela and Timged, or get lost in the ancient Islamic streets of the Kasbah of Algiers. It's like a giant, open-air museum of human civilization. And all of that brings us to the most recent, and you could argue, the most defining chapter in Algerian history, the French colonial period. It started way back in 1830, and it ended in one of the absolute bloodiest wars for independence of the entire 20th century. And this right here really gets to the heart of the conflict. You see, France didn't just treat Algeria like a regular colony. No, they saw it as an actual part of France. So you had hundreds of thousands of European settlers, the Pied Noirs, who moved in. But the entire system was built on this foundation of extreme inequality. The settlers had all the political and economic power, while the native Algerian population was pushed off their land and tragically saw their population decline by almost a third due to war, disease, and starvation. So, after decades of this simmering resistance, this declaration finally dropped in 1954. It came from the National Liberation Front, the FLN, and it was the spark that ignited the Algerian War. It was a powerful call to restore a sovereign Algerian state, and it kicked off an incredibly brutal 8-year-long war. The human cost was just staggering. Now, exact numbers are still debated, but most historians put the number of Algerian casualties somewhere around 700,000. It was a vicious war, defined by guerrilla tactics, brutal reprisals, and millions of people being forced from their homes. So when Algeria finally did win its independence in 1962, it set off this huge, dramatic demographic shift. In the span of just a few months, almost 1 million Pied Noirs packed up and fled to France. Just like that, over 100 years of European presence was over. But here's where it gets complicated. Despite that incredibly violent history, the connection between France and Algeria is still there. And it's complex. French is still spoken all over the place, used in business and the media. The relationship is full of painful memories, for sure. But there are also really deep cultural and economic ties. Some people even compare it to the relationship between the US and the UK. So, after all that, the geography, the layers of history, the war, what kind of nation was born? Let's take a look at modern Algeria, a country really defined by three things: its huge natural wealth, its unique people, and a pretty turbulent political ride. Okay, to understand Algeria today, you have to start with the money. And the money is all about oil and gas. The country is sitting on some of the world's biggest reserves of the stuff. These hydrocarbons, they're not just part of the economy, they are the economy. They make up the vast majority of the country's exports and basically pay for everything the government does. And what about the people? Well, demographically, most Algerians see themselves as Arab Berber. It's this fascinating blend of those ancient indigenous Berber roots and centuries of Arab influence. Officially, the country has two languages, Arabic and Berber. But in reality, it's pretty much trilingual, with French still being a super common language you hear in education, media, and just everyday life. Politically, it's been a tough road. After independence, the FLN, the heroes of the war, set up a one-party state. That system eventually crumbled, leading to a truly devastating civil war in the 1990s. After that, you had the 20-year-long rule of President Bouteflika, which only came to an end in 2019, thanks to the Hirak, a massive, peaceful protest movement that brought the country to a standstill and demanded real change. So when you pull it all together, you really see what Algeria is made of. It's a nation forged by these massive forces, right? A stark geography that literally tells people where they can and can't live. An incredibly deep history that created this one-of-a-kind identity. A brutal war that birthed the modern nation. And of course, all that natural resource wealth that pays the bills today, but also raises big questions for tomorrow. And that really brings us to the big question facing Algeria right now. You've got this incredible energy wealth, a super strategic location, and this young, dynamic population that has already proven it's not afraid to demand a better future. So what does the next chapter for Algeria look like? Is this a country that's about to harness all that amazing potential? Or will it be held back by the weight of its history and its dependence on that oil and gas? That's the question.